Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started now. So hello and welcome everyone to our Fireside chat, and thank you all for being here. My name is Claire, and I'll be one of your hosts for today, and my co-hosts are Jolin and Gail. So we are from STEM and Rose, which is a nonprofit organization that encourages female students to explore and pursue STEM while supporting each other to create a close-knit community. But like everyone is welcome here, regardless of like if you're part of the organization or even if you're like a girl or not, like everyone's welcome. So we have two speakers for today, Diya Patel and Eva Aggarwal. Diya, do you want to quickly introduce yourself first?
Hi everyone, thanks for coming today. My name is Dia. I am originally from New Jersey, but I'm currently a college student at Duke. I'm going to be starting my fourth year this fall, and I'm studying neurobiology and minoring in English. So it's nice to meet you all. I'm excited to share a bit more about myself and FEMS Plus, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. And then Eva?
Guys. So my name is Eva. I'm a rising junior at Duke right now, studying computer science and statistics. I'm actually from New Delhi, India, where I am right now. As you can see, it's really dark outside. Um, and yeah, I'm super excited to see you guys and talk to you.
Okay. So our speakers have prepared a presentation today to tell us about Duke's like STEM program opportunities. And after their presentation, we'll have some time for prepared questions. And if you have any of your own questions at any point throughout the presentation, just feel free to put them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. So yeah, I'll just let them take it away.
Okay, can everyone see the slideshow? Okay, perfect. So today we're going to be sharing a bit about FEMS Plus, which stands for Females and Allies Excelling More in Math, Engineering, and Science. And this is an organization associated with Duke University that is run by college students. Okay, so who are we? Who are FEMS Plus? FEMS Plus was established in 2006 at Duke University, and now it has chapters at other universities as well, including UNC and University of Michigan. And our goal is to educate and engage in outreach with young students in STEM. And we really believe that STEM experiences are most valuable when they occur in small settings where students have the opportunity to engage with hands-on science, and especially when those interactions are with college students where kind of the age difference isn't as big. Students feel more comfortable asking questions, kind of asking things that they're curious about. We believe that's kind of the learning environment that we hope to encourage. And we have six programs that fall under the FEMS Plus umbrella, and we're going to be sharing a bit more about each one of them today. Okay, so the first program I'm going to touch on is FEMS Plus Summer Camp. Summer Camp is an annual program that we run. It is a week-long summer camp that happens in August for fourth through sixth graders, and it takes place on Duke's campus. So all the experiments and activities take place on campus. Parents will drop off students, pick them up at the end of the day. And the groups are led by Duke undergraduate students that serve as the counselors. And essentially, how it works is students will go from activity to activity that take place in different buildings. So, like you might be in the engineering building for one activity, and then the physics building, bio building, so forth. Some of the activities that we've had in previous years include building and testing catapults, modeling a neuron, and the biology scavenger hunt in the Duke Gardens. And we also have some field trips on some days, including to the Duke Smart Home, as well as the greenhouse. This is a photo from last year where students were testing out aerodynamics and the paper airplanes that they had built, and we're trying to see who could fly them the farthest. Okay, so our next program is the after school program. This program is also for fourth through sixth graders, but it takes place during the school year in both the fall and the spring. And it takes place at 7 Durham elementary schools after the end of the school day. So students will just stay back in their classrooms, and Duke students will come to the schools to run the program. And it's very similar in that you're still doing STEM activities. Typically, it's in a small group, so it'll be two college volunteers and 4 to 5 students. And the students will run kind of like a STEM mini lesson and kind of give a little bit of an introduction, like this is what the topic is, kind of here's some fun facts about it. And then they'll always end the event with a STEM experiment. So this will be something hands-on that students can make or build, and usually they get to take it home. So some of the activities that we've had in the past are designing a robotic hand, modeling DNA with candy, and learning about the physics of parachutes. So currently we have this program at 7 Durham elementary schools. And if people have some questions about this, I can also drop the list of which schools we have. And we're also looking to expand to some more. FEMS Plus Saturday program is very similar to the after school program, but it takes place on Duke's campus. So this program is really meant for students that are still in the same age group, 4th through 6th grade, but maybe don't have the after school program running at their school. So they can just sign up for the Saturday program, and then if they are able to come to Duke's campus, we'll be running the same activities on campus. So very similarly, college students are leading these activities and lessons, but students are actively engaging with them, kind of working with other students, building, learning, asking questions, everything. Um, and these are just some photos of some examples of activities we've had students do. So this one on the left is they were learning about structural engineering and civil engineering. So they were building spaghetti towers with marshmallows. The middle photo is I can't tell if it's an animal cell or a plant cell, but learning about the cell. And then the right side one is when we were exploring circuits. So students got to like make a or do a drawing and then connect it to a circuit in the back. And then that lit up a little light in the front. Okay. So our next event that we have is FEMS Plus Capstone. I think Capstone is one of the coolest events. It is a day-long event. This one is also for 4th through 6th graders, and it takes place on Duke's campus. And the cool thing about FEMS Plus Capstone is that it's run by a lot of the research faculty at Duke. So these are research professors that have signed up because they want to share about their science and their experiments with students, just like you guys. So they will typically run a like experiment or activity that's based in their own lab and has to do with the research that they're doing. So some examples we have are there are a lot of researchers at Duke studying the lemurs. A lot of you might have been to the Lemur Center. So some activities have included exploring the biomes of Madagascar. Other engineering professors are looking at nanotechnology. So students have got to see like some of the machines that they have and like what it looks like to build and model really small molecules. Other ones, I think we have a photo of this one right here, is exploring first aid and EMS, and also a classic strawberry DNA extraction, which is always fun from the biology labs. So one thing that makes this a little bit different from the other events is that because it's a whole day event, it kind of is a little bit more structured in that there'll be a keynote speaker in the morning, they'll do some activities throughout the rest of the morning, there'll be lunch provided, and finish the day with some more activities. Okay, I'll let Eva talk to you all about hacks.
Yeah, so then we have Hackathon, which is our once a year, 1 day long event where we have some cool stuff like keynote speakers come in, talk about interesting stuff, a panel made up typically of faculty, other students, alumni to kind of talk about their experience. I was on it last year, it was super fun. And we have a couple of technical workshops that kind of span the entire day. We have a lot of different tracks like cybersecurity, Python, data visualization, game dev, and I think we're trying to expand that as well. So sky's the limit. And then at the end, we have a student presentation where we all kind of come together and showcase what we've learned, what we've built so far in a cute, informal little way. And basically, this program is just a supportive, team-based activity for you guys to learn some new skills and introduce yourself to computer science. Yeah, next up, we have the Connect program. And this is basically a mentorship program that we have that's directed towards late middle school and high school students. And basically, you develop a research project under one of the following tracks that we've had historically. There's biology, there's CS, data science, or game development. And I know for a fact that we're also trying to expand this a little bit more. So any new suggestions, please let us know. And what we do is we provide students with two female role models from Duke University, and they're basically going to be either freshmen, sophomores, or juniors, I think typically seniors as well, to kind of guide you in your research project, in STEM in general, kind of guide you through the experience of maybe college or what major to do or just research in general. And here's some pictures of some projects we've had in the past. Um, yeah, advanced in anesthesiology. That was actually one of my students. Was super fun. Highly recommend.
And for Connect 2, that one is it's open-ended. So you can come in with a research project that you're interested in, and the college students will work with you to explore it and find ways to continue developing your interests. Okay, so here we have a couple ways that if you're interested in getting involved with FEMS Plus, which we would love, some ways you can connect with us. We are most active on our Facebook, Instagram, and via email. We can also ask the hosts to send out the ways to get in contact with us afterwards. That would be helpful as well. And we just thought we'd finish with some of the activity examples that we've had. This is from this past year where students were looking at photosynthesis and they were doing an experiment with spinach leaves and flashlights and comparing like which solutions they are seeing photosynthesis occur fastest. This is another looking at the cell and understanding what the different organelles do and their functions. And the third one, which we saw a photo of earlier, but learning about civil engineering and building towers. I feel like that one is always one of the most fun ones, especially since kids get some marshmallows at the end. But yeah, that is what we have to share with you all today. And we hope you can participate in some of the FEMS Plus activities this upcoming school year.
Thank you guys so much for the amazing presentation. All of these programs sound really interesting. We're going to transition into a few of the questions that we prepared for the speakers, but also we're seeing that there are a few questions in the chat, which we will get to after the questions we've prepared for now. So first of all, we were wondering, can you please share a bit about how you became interested in STEM and why you chose to pursue your specific majors?
Okay, should I start?
Sure.
Okay. So I really got interested in STEM. I had a really great high school biology teacher, and I just loved the way that he used so many visuals and diagrams in explaining the concepts that it was so easy for it to play out like a story in my mind. And I'm someone that really loves storytelling and reading, so kind of seeing how the both were able to come together and kind of create this really cool like way for me to understand new topics, which is always super interesting to me. Coming into college, I was very much like, I do not know what I want to do. So I was taking engineering classes, CS classes, bio classes. Eventually, I think I came back to my like biology roots, and then that's why I decided to pursue neurobiology.
Yeah, I can go next. So for me, I was never really great at math, so I thought I wasn't built for the STEM lifestyle. And then in high school, junior year of high school, I actually did a project with one of my teachers where we made a library filing system, which sounds extremely boring, and it kind of was. But it just showed me like, oh my God, I can make such a huge difference with computer science. Like I'm actually making a library filing system that people use. So that's kind of what got me into computer science. I just realized I could make a lot of impact and be creative at the same time. And I took a couple of classes freshman year, and that kind of sealed it for me.
Hey, thank you for sharing. We're going to continue with some more personal questions. But do you have any experiences where you faced like a significant setback in your STEM journey and maybe something you did to overcome it?
Start. I think one experience that many of us, well, all of us here have been through was the pandemic, and that was during high school for me. So that was also kind of a time where we were dealing with a lot of challenges. I was taking biology online, so that was kind of also made it a little bit more difficult to like understand and engage with the material. But my high school biology class, similar to Eva, what she mentioned, like she was doing a project in high school, we were doing a biology project, and that was when everything shut down. And it was really difficult to kind of see what the next step was. Our project was looking at a water system that was polluted near our house. So we couldn't really go there. We weren't really in contact with our teammates. Even kind of getting in touch with our professor was a little difficult. So that was a challenge for us. And one way that we kind of learned and grew from that was looking online at there are some really cool nature databases online. And I think if any of you guys are interested in like in terms of like nature or innovation, this is definitely worth checking out. These databases kind of have they'll show different animals and their adaptations and how they adapt to a lot of the problems that we're facing in the human world. So like climate change, for example, well, a lot of animals will naturally kind of suppress carbon, or other animals are really good at doing filtration or keeping warm. So, like all these problems that we face in the human world are also found in nature. So, we were able to look at a lot of those sources and find some organisms. So, we were particularly looking at like how to clean a water system. So, like even our bodies are like our kidneys are filtering and cleaning our blood every day. So, like looking at different sources of inspiration when you feel like certain other opportunities are closed is always something that's been helpful.
Yeah, that sounds really cool, actually. Wow, I didn't know they had that. Yeah, a setback that I kind of had was freshman year of college. Like I said, I wasn't super into STEM when I started out. And freshman year, I took my introductory comp sci class in college. And there were a lot of smart kids in there. There were kids who'd grown up doing computer science their entire life. And I was a little intimidated, to say the least. And I was actually about to drop my computer science major, and one way I dealt with that was just kind of seeking support from a community we have on campus. It's called DTech, and it's our primary Women in Tech Society on campus. And that was possibly the best decision I made because it was just a team of supportive women that were able to give me the support I needed, the encouragement I needed to just kind of stand my ground and make it through that course. And well, I feel like that was a great decision because I love computer science. And I feel like that is also one advice I have for all of you. Just make sure you find your community, no matter where it is, whether it's your friends or your parents or something at school. It really helps to have a non-judgmental and supportive community having your back all the time.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds really, that's definitely inspirational. And it's true that a community is very important when it comes to overcoming these challenges. So, slightly shifting gears, we were wondering, were there any specific opportunities, such as summer programs or competitions or clubs, that really helped shape your STEM journey?
I have a club. This one is a bit STEM adjacent, but I think it's still relevant. It's There's a club in my high school called the TED Ed Club. I'm not sure if you guys have a similar club at your school, but maybe public speaking club, something of the sort. Um, but that was a club that I was involved in high school. And even though we weren't always talking about STEM topics, I feel like it was really helpful in learning how to talk to others and how to talk to people about things that they might not be familiar with. That's a big part of what we do at FEMS Plus is teaching the science. So I think that really helps us connect with students better. But I think just in general, being able the skills that you begin to learn through public speaking will help you both in STEM as well as outside of STEM in terms of your ability to talk with others in a way that you can tell a story or talk to others in a way that really resonates with them or even asking questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me personally, I wasn't super involved in a lot of high school clubs. One club I was kind of involved in, which is very different from what I do now, was the economics club. And I think the best thing that taught me was just how you can have an impact no matter where you are and what you can do. As a high school student, we would be kind of going around and helping out with some social work, helping out with some curriculums that we made for social entrepreneurship and gender empowerment, and that was pretty cool. But I think the primary thing that kind of got me into STEM and got me interested was just exploring on my own. So just coming up with random summer projects, just kind of Googling like beginner projects for somebody who doesn't know coding. That was a lot of fun. So I feel like they're both great experiences to have.
Wow, that's really cool. I think that's going to be really helpful for a lot of our audience who's interested in STEM. And slightly related to that, were there any STEM-related projects or research experiences you participated in that have been particularly meaningful for you?
I can speak a bit more about the project that I did in high school, um, kind of what I learned from that. That was kind of looking, I learned that I can look at nature as a source of inspiration, and that was kind of what something that really fueled my interest in biology. And then coming to college, I can kind of see how like so many of kind of the behaviors that we engage in have to do with the mind. So now I'm doing research that is related to Parkinson's disease, so studying what happens when something goes wrong in the mind. I think kind of one thing that when I first started college, I really wasn't sure, like, I really want to do research, but I don't know what I want to do research in. And I think some of you guys like might be in that same position because it's like either everything seems so cool and I don't know how to pick, or like I really don't know, like I feel like I'm unprepared. I guess one piece of advice I would give for students who might be thinking that is like it is totally okay to like not know what you want to do. Um, I think one thing that might be helpful is like seeing what is something or what is an area that you feel like you have so many questions about and you keep asking questions about. I think that can kind of be a little bit of a telltale about like what you'd be most interested in and be most curious about. And I think that is a good start. And then also knowing that if you don't like it, you can always pivot.
Yeah, that's a great point. Personally, I still don't know what I'm doing with my life. So, yeah, there's always time. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. Take your time. For me, I was actually involved in a research project with one of our local universities in high school. It was a project about kind of mapping out the environmental shock effects on the economy. That is kind of how climate change events were affecting economies around the world. And that was incredibly interesting. And in fact, it's a little similar to what I did in university over the summer just now. Over the summer, I kind of worked for the research lab to map out the effects of new AI bots on economies, on Duke websites, and in general, just on everything going on. And I just think it's very interesting getting to connect two different things that are possibly unrelated in such an interesting analytical way. Like, oh, like you never think how ChatGPT could possibly affect Duke websites or Duke's money. Like it's just cool to think about.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. As just as a quick follow-up, do you think if someone finds like a research topic that they're really interested in, how do you suggest they kind of get started on exploring that? Should they find like a mentor, or are there any helpful resources to help them kind of overcome that initial challenge and get rolling?
I think I'll go based off of what Eva kind of just mentioned. If I had ChatGPT in high school, I think I would have loved it. Like that is such a great place. Like any questions you have, just it just is a good way to get the wheels turning. It's not going to tell you everything, obviously, but you might be like, I'm really interested in exploring this psychological topic. It can give you a really good background about what's already known, what's not known, maybe like in your community, what are some problems that your community might be facing? I think that's always a good place to start because you can start small and talk with people that are affected by the issue or whatever, having some experience with the topic, and then kind of build your way up. But yeah, I think ChatGPT is a really big tool that probably the earlier you can get some exposure and kind of learn with it, the better.
Yeah, just to kind of add on to that, I think yeah, ChatGPT is great. Honestly, yeah, I use it sometimes just to kind of get the ball rolling, like Thea said. But I will also say I think it would be really super helpful to kind of find somebody who has experience with this, like maybe a mentor or, FEMS Plus. We're all here. Just to kind of maybe get somebody to get you over that initial hurdle of what should I do? What steps should I take? I'm not sure how to make this idea into a real tangible thing with effect. So we work on research projects and we have programs for this. So yeah, reach out to someone.
Kind of similar to our previous question. We know it's a bit early, but do you guys have any goals for your long-term career? And like, how do you plan to use your STEM education to achieve them?
So I'm the closer of us two to graduating. So I have one more year of college left, but afterwards I plan to spend at least one more year doing research. I still think I have a lot of questions I want to answer or try to answer, and I'm planning to apply to medical school as well. In terms of how I think my education and STEM education specifically is going to help me, I think it's a lot of what we've kind of been touching on is that through STEM, you kind of get into a habit of asking questions, or really like, I think you have these questions all along, but you feel less scared to ask those questions, or you have a better idea of like, I can go to this person and ask this question and they'll guide me. So the skill of kind of continuing to ask questions, not being afraid. I know for most of the time I was growing up, I would always be very shy to ask questions, but kind of realizing that is a great way to show how interested you are in something and it opens so many doors. I wish, like, if there was one thing I would tell my younger self, it was like, don't be afraid to speak to that person, like maybe that one teacher that can help you out. Um, so to keep asking questions is something that I also hope to keep doing.
Yeah, questions are super important. No stupid questions, guys. Um, for me, I'm a writing junior, so I'm not completely sure yet what I'm going to be doing. But I hope to be doing software engineering after I graduate. And I feel like one way my STEM journey has kind of prepared me for that is by teaching me persistence, because it's a hard line of study. Like it's not super easy. And there's gonna be times where your GPA dips, you're gonna bomb exams. It's going to happen. And I feel like the biggest lesson it teaches you is just how you pick yourself up after that, keep going and get to a place where you get better. And this is a great life lesson actually, because there's going to be times in your career, in your life, where you're going to fall down and it's not going to matter how you fell down or how bad it is. You have to pull yourself out of that hole. And I think that's a very important skill to learn.
Yeah, that's awesome. These skills sound really helpful and interesting. And although I know a lot of the people in here might not be fully sure about what they want to do in the future yet, this can really help them guide them along their path. So, on a later note, how would you think you can balance the demands of a STEM major or like rigorous research with other parts of your college life, like clubs, jobs, personal interests, hobbies?
Think a big part of it for me, obviously, there's definitely a learning process. I think I'm 3 years in and there's always ways for me to improve my time management and everything like that. But identifying the things that really resonate with me. And I think once you've identify the things that matter most to you. It doesn't feel like a chore when you're doing those things. So I know the classes I pick are ones for the most part that I enjoy. The research I enjoy. I like watching basketball games. Like I like to spend time going to those. And then similarly with clubs like FEMMES Plus, like I always leave much more like happier and having laughed so much more than when I came in. So choosing activities that you know are going to be fulfilling. I know that's kind of difficult to predict, like when you first start the activity, but as you kind of like, you kind of get your bearings down and you're like, kind of think about and reflect. I like to journal about that as well. Like, what are some of the things that I'm liking, not liking, who am I meeting, and that kind of stuff, and reflecting on that.
Yeah, I feel like in college, the lines kind of blur between extracurriculars and activities and fun time for you. Because I personally, I mean, I love going to club meetings. I love working on things like these, love giving these talks. Um, I don't know, I feel like I think the best advice about balancing that I could think of is again, like Dia said, just kind of prioritizing your own happiness. You have limited time on your hands, and in that time, you got to fix in your sleep, your health, food, all of that. Plus, doing cool stuff like learning or education, plus fun stuff for you that makes you feel fulfilled and happy, right? So it's just nice when you get to blend those things together. Like maybe you're learning something that makes you feel fulfilled. Maybe it's something that's impacting the world or helping somebody out. Maybe you're part of a club that makes you happy and makes a difference at the same time. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. We were also wondering what skills outside of technical knowledge, like communication or leadership, have helped you succeed in STEM.
That's a really good question. I'm thinking of it.
Take
I
your
think
time. Yeah.
one thing that I've been working on these as a volunteer in FEMS Plus is being able to explain science to people of all different backgrounds. So, as we mentioned, a lot of our programs are targeted towards different age groups. So, some of them are fourth through sixth grade, some of them middle school, some of them high school. So, I mean, you can talk about the same topics, but very different levels of complexity. So, being able to kind of adjust to your audience and talk to them in a way that they'll understand is something that I've been learning.
Yeah, I feel like all the skills you mentioned are super important, not in just like STEM, but kind of all aspects of life, like communication, leadership. But I guess the most important one is kind of just not freaking out. Because at one point, your professor is going to assign you a 40-page reading that's due the next day, and two sentences in, you don't understand what's going on. True story. This is based on a true story. And I feel like the most important thing is just keeping your cool and just brute forcing your way through college, STEM, life, everything. I think that gives you the ability to learn all the other skills as time goes on, even technical skills.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's definitely important to keep pushing and keep persevering even when things get hard because like ultimately that's what's going to help you learn the skills you need. And then lastly, we were wondering what advice would you give to younger girls who might be curious about STEM but aren't quite sure about their specific like career path yet? Or not just girls, anyone who's interested in STEM at all.
The first thing I'll say is it's totally okay not to know what you want to do. I think even I'm personally still figuring that out. Um, I think the important thing is that you try and find as many opportunities as you can to explore the most that you can. That is like one thing that we really try to channel in with FEMS Plus is we think back to like what are some of those areas that I wish I had exposure to younger as a younger person that I really didn't. So like we'll plan activities on statistics or psychology or even like niche areas. Like I didn't even know what nanotechnology was like before coming to college, really. So finding and engaging in opportunities, I think like this organization is a really good example of that, attending webinars like this. Um, I used to read, I remember like the Time for Kids magazine as a kid, and that would just have so many different like STEM different happenings and technologies. There's some TV shows out there, any kind of outlets, activities, or programs, trying everything, because I think that's the only way you can really know what you love and what you don't love.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say the same thing actually. I think like the first thing is for sure just breathe. There's a lot of time to figure it out. There's a lot of cool stuff in the world, and there's a lot of different sides to STEM as well. So just breathe. The second thing, like Dia said, is just to kind of explore. So don't close yourself off to different opportunities or different, I guess, parts of STEM. Like you'd be surprised. There's so many different intersections. You could do economics and data. You could do math and computer science. You could do a lot. And the world is changing constantly. With AI, especially, there's a whole new outlook in the tech world. There's a lot of different jobs coming up. So keep exploring, even if you feel like it's out of your comfort zone or it's something you're not super sure about, you've never done it before. Walk into that room, and I'm gonna guarantee you there's gonna be at least six other people there who also have no idea. And I guess the last thing I'll say is find your community. And I've said this before, but it's super important. I think that's kind of how you explore different paths and get into these hard fields like STEM or maybe not STEM. It's just having maybe a friend group or a community at school or something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, keeps you accountable, and it's just there with you to listen to you while you rant about your code not working.
Thank you so much for answering all our questions. Now we're just gonna move on to some of the audience questions that we saw in the chat.
The first one, a lot of people asked, is this program primarily for girls? We answered this in the chat already, but we just want you to clarify one more time.
Yeah, FEMS Plus was initially founded with the intent of encouraging girls to be more involved in STEM, but we are open to to all genders. So everyone is welcome to participate in all of our programs.
Yeah, great. And then next, could you please share like how you got started with the research as like a high schooler? People said like it sounds quite high level and a little bit intimidating. And they're also wondering, does Duke provide any research related opportunities for high schoolers?
I can go. For me, getting involved in high school was kind of cold emailing 50 different professors in different universities that I had around my area. Is being like, hey guys, I'm kind of interested in this. I read your paper and it seems like you're also interested in this. And just reaching out to them. Sometimes they email back. Definitely use your connections. Definitely, if you know anybody, maybe a college student in different universities, reach out to them. They can connect you. And for Duke Research, I'm sure we have other programs outside of FEMS Plus. I'll have to look into that, but I'm sure they exist. I know professors who've worked with students.
Yeah, for me, for high school, it was through I think we had some kind of local organization that our high school teacher knew of, so he encouraged us to get involved. So I think it's always like paying attention to the things that your teacher might be saying at the end of class, like after the bell rings, or he might send out an email, like staying on top of that kind of stuff and the opportunities that you're interested in. Um, and then we kind of formed a team with a couple of our classmates and did it that way. In terms of college, I'm trying to think of Duke. I know we have a Wiser Advocacy Club, which I can sh also share some more information about, but it is very similar, kind of a research project for high school students to get involved with a advocacy topic of that they're interested in and want to explore with the team. Um, I think there is a summer neuroscience program for high school students. That one might be worth looking into if you're interested in neuroscience. And I'm trying to think what else.
I think there's
That,
summer camps too, right? I saw some
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
year,
There's some other summer camps, some
right?
other STEM summer camps as well.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll look into it. We'll send you guys some more details once we have them.
Thank you so much. I would have loved these opportunities as like as a high schooler. And definitely and definitely thank you so much for sharing all the other programs that Duke as well. We were actually also wondering in the chat, could you list the 7 schools that had the Fem Plus programs?
Give me 1 second. I can send them all in the chat.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. Some people are also wondering if the program has any costs or like if it costs any money.
Nope, all the FEMS Plus programs are free.
Okay, great. And for our final question, has this year's summer camp started yet? And are there any spots open? And if so, where can we find the registration information?
So summer camp hasn't happened yet. It will usually be, it is the week before school starts for Duke students. So I'm thinking the week of the 18th through 22nd. I'm not exactly sure if registration is still open, but what I can do is get the contact information and then send it to one of the hosts, and then they can send it out.
Sounds good. Um, and just a couple more questions actually. We were wondering if you could actually briefly share about the programs for middle and high school students who missed that earlier.
Yeah, would it be helpful if I shared my slides again, or what do you think?
Um,
Yeah, I think that would
that
be
would be great.
nice because a
Yeah.
few people logged in late. So,
Yeah. Okay. So the first one is a summer camp. That one is the one that runs on campus in August for a few seconds. Our next one is the after school program. This one takes place at Durham Elementary Schools. This is for fourth through sixth graders and is similar style with the college students leading the activities and students engaging in hands-on experiments. The Saturday program is very similar to after school, but it runs on Duke's campus. So these are programs for students that don't have the after school program running at their school. So usually the signups for after school and Saturday open up in the fall. So around first week of September is when we will start sending out information and registration links for those programs. The capstone event is a one-day event that has Duke faculty and researchers leading experiments for the students on Duke's campus. This will be typically it is one day in March, and on the platforms that I'll show on a later slide, but on our Facebook, Instagram, email list, we'll be sending out information about that and when registration opens up. But do you want to speak about hacks?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Hacks is our annual hackathon that we have once a year. And this one is for high schoolers. Yeah, it just runs for one day in March, in the spring, I believe, March typically, or January this year, I think it was. Registration for this opens up, I believe, in the fall semester, October, I think. Yeah, and I think next up we have the Connect program. This is for late middle school and high school students. And this is just a simple mentorship program where you do a research project with two Duke students.
This will usually also start in the fall, so that's when we'll send out registration for that.
This one runs for an entire year, also, BTW.
Mhm. And then here we have our Facebook, Instagram, and email, and our activity examples.
okay, that looks great. I was just wanted to say, like, would it be possible if you guys could share the link to the Google Slides here in the chat, as well as like the link to the FEMMES Plus website, so then they can take a look at that, and any like other registration details that you said you would send out, because it would probably just be the most convenient if all the people who are in this chat could just click on it. But yeah.
Yeah. I think if no one has any more questions, we're gonna drop our STEM and Rose information in the chat as well for future reference and also for other events that y'all are interested in. And thank you so much to everyone for attending this fire chat. We hope it was helpful. And of course, thank you so much to our speakers, Eva and Dia, for taking the time to share this with us. And that's about the end of our fireside chat. But make sure to check out our Instagram, website, and join our Discord server for more updates on events like these. Make sure to stay tuned for our next fireside chat. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. And the recording should be up on our YouTube as well, so if you would like to take a look at it later. All right. Thank you. Bye.